explain that to Governor Tarkin when you visit him. He expects you tomorrow to account for your failure.
Welcome back to the dark side, everyone on YouTube. Darth Vader is coming back at you with another video today, and today we're going to be reacting to more scary animated horror stories. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, shall we? Hmm. Neighbor's window.
My name is Adam, and this is a scary story of mine. This incident happened almost a year ago. For personal reasons, I'll change my friend's name to Monica. It all started when my dad bought me a full basketball hoop. I absolutely loved basketball, so this was a dream of mine. I played with it every single day for about 30 minutes or more. And around that time, summer started, and school was ending, so it was even better for me. I should also mention that, as I said, I have a friend named Monica, and we've been friends since I was born, because she lives just a few meters away from my house. Whenever I played basketball, I could see her house's window where her kitchen or living room was. And
That's not weird at all.
for some reason, sometimes when I shot a shot, I would look over to see if she or her family was watching me play. I know, it's a bit weird. Now, the day of the incident, I messaged her on Messenger when she was up to
That's
it.
not fucking
She said
Messenger.
that she was getting ready to go to her grandma's house
That's not fucking Messenger. That's Discord, dude.
and stay there for a few days. I was kinda sad because I liked to play with her online or sometimes meet in person, but I couldn't do anything about it, so I just said, alright, have fun. About an hour later, I decided to go into the yard and play some basketball. And then it happened. I
Okay.
got the rebound, and I looked over to her window and froze. There was something that looked like a big, black box in front of the window. And I knew that whatever was there shouldn't be there, because I should be able to see a painting on the wall, and I couldn't. As I was about to start dribbling, I noticed something. The big, black box
What the heck?
wasn't a box. It was a torso. And the torso started to move down. And then I saw a
Holy
face,
fuck!
which looked absolutely terrifying. Its grin stretched so wide, and its eyes were the biggest I have ever seen. And they were looking straight at me. Since at
Yo.
that time I was really into ghost stuff, I thought I was seeing the devil. I just dropped the ball and ran back inside. It was me and my 20-year-old sister at home. I tried to tell her what I saw, but she just laughed and told me to stop watching the scary videos on YouTube. And because of that, I was pissed. I grabbed my phone and texted Monica asking if anyone was at her house. And she replied by saying, no. That's where I got super scared. Knowing what I just saw, I told her about it. And she somehow believed me and tried to tell her parents, but she had strict parents, so they didn't believe what she was saying. I was scared, so I just didn't even want to think about it. So I just watched some movies on the TV, which made me a little bit calmer, as my sister also tried to tell me it's all good. A couple months passed, and I started to forget about it. But it wasn't until me and Monica were on Discord talking that I realized she was talking weirdly. I've known her since birth, right? So I know her usual speaking tone, but something was off. So I asked her, is everything okay? You sound strange. She said, no, not really. I said, why? Then she told me what happened last night. She said that she woke up very thirsty around 4 a.m. and
Okay.
decided to go get some water downstairs. As she entered the living room, she looked to her left and saw
What
a
the
big,
fuck?
black
What?
thing. I don't even know how to explain.
I know it's just a silhouette, but what the fuck is going on in the back here? Like, why? What? People these days, they have a tendency to draw shit unnecessarily. Like, what the fuck?
Explain it. It doesn't look like a human or anything. And it was standing near the window. I saw it. And it was just looking out the window, even though the blinds were closed. As she was about to scream, the thing turned around and
Oh,
so
hell no.
widely, then let out a non-human scream, which let out Monica's scream as she ran to her parents' room, crying and saying that something was downstairs. Her dad grabbed a baseball bat and started going downstairs while her mom calmed her down. After a few minutes, her dad came back saying there's no one in the house, which made Monica even more scared because she thought it was a demon. And of course, since her parents were strict, they didn't believe her, but she slept with them still. After Monica told me this story, I remembered the same thing that I saw. And me and Monica were both scared to sleep that night. But thankfully, nothing happened. It's been almost a year since that incident, and nothing's happened. Me and Monica are still friends, and we still sometimes bring this incident up in a conversation. But we still can't figure out what that thing was that we
What the
both saw
fuck?
at that window.
Damn. Alright, well, that was interesting. Scary as fuck, too. What the? I'm sorry, what kind of scary story is this supposed to be? I don't know if I should. I don't know if there's going to be some stuff that YouTube's going to be like, yeah, no, you can't share this shit.
This is a creepy incident that happened about 3 years ago when I moved to a new neighborhood.
Okay.
The housing there was really cheap, and it was a very quiet neighborhood, so I really liked it. I was resting at home just a few days after moving in when a rotten smell suddenly hit me.
Damn.
I followed the smell to where it had come from, and it was the entrance. So I opened the front door, and there was a girl.
What the fuck?
She was wearing torn clothes covered in dirt. Her hair had fallen out, with only a few strands remaining. Her skin was rotten in many places, and she was covered in bugs that were eating away at her. I screamed.
She looks like she's been dead for a while.
She grabbed the door with her rotten hands and opened her mouth wide as she pushed her face through the crack of the door.
Nah.
Her jaw split open until her mouth touched her chest.
Thank you for the censorship, Wansee Entertainment.
I screamed at the top of my lungs, and then suddenly, she disappeared.
Ah, Rose came to say hello to you.
What?
It was the voice of Tom next door. He was walking up to my house.
When you meet her, you must give her some candy. Otherwise, she'll have a hard time. She's the reason we have so many candy stores in our neighborhood.
As he said that, he gave me a piece of candy and walked back to his house. I was in a daze. I couldn't understand anything he was saying at all. Her face kept popping into my head for the rest of the day. The rotten skin, the smell, and even the creaking sounds of her bones when her mouth opened. I tried to forget about it, but I kept thinking about it until I fell asleep. What on earth was she? Is someone
Undead.
filming a horror movie nearby?
No.
After thinking about all sorts of possibilities,
I would hope
opened
not.
my eyes to find it was morning.
Or I
I
would
was
hope
driving
so.
to work when the car suddenly thumped, as if it had hit something. I was so
Uh-oh.
surprised that I stopped the car and jumped out. That girl was in front of my car. The front bumper of my car was all dented, and she looked at me with her body all contorted. I got goosebumps all over my body. She stood up and adjusted every twisted bone. Then she came towards me and stretched out her hand. Her hands were full of candy remnants. When she opened her mouth, ants crawled all over her rotten teeth. I screamed like crazy, and Tom came running out from next door.
Here!
He threw some candy at the girl and went back into his house. She took Tom's candy, ate it, ran to his house, and stood in front of the door for a while. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and then I realized something. Her hair and clothes didn't move at all, and she moved as if gravity didn't exist. My vision suddenly turned dark. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in a bed at Tom's house. I was startled and jumped up, but my head hurt so much that I fell down again. Tom, what's going on? Tom sighed.
If you stay in the same place as Rose for a long time, the cells in your body start to die. You may have noticed, but she's not a living being. Everything around her loses its vitality. Trees, flowers, animals, even oxygen. 20% of the deaths that occur in our neighborhood are unsolved. Why? Because the culprit is not from this world.
I got goosebumps again, but I also thought that Tom was making fun of me. I couldn't believe it because I've never seen anything like a ghost in my life. But from then on, I always carried candy in my pocket. And every time I ran into her, I threw her a piece of candy and ran away. One time, I accidentally threw the candy too high, and another hand came out of her mouth and snatched it away. It was only then that I realized what Tom said was true. I went to Tom's house and asked him about the people who had died because of her. At first, he waved his hands, saying he didn't want to even think about it. But when I persisted, he eventually started talking.
The first was Chase, a strapping 18-year-old man who mistook Rose for a person. Up until then, her face had not rotted and she was quite pretty. So he kissed her, and a few hours later, he vomited up blood and died. When the autopsy was performed, hundreds of bugs were found in his body. They had eaten all of his organs. Of course, the police could not find the cause.
It doesn't make any sense.
I know.
What about the next person? He was silent for a moment and poured himself a cup of coffee. I could see his hands shaking.
It was a middle-aged woman named Nicole. But one day, she was found dead with a snake stuck in her throat. The police were unable to find any evidence, and the case remained unsolved. We thought it was Rose who did it, because Nicole always said, "Go away, Satan," whenever Rose appeared. I guess Rose didn't want to hear that.
My body was shaking from the shock. You'd better stop. I don't want to puke in your house.
Yeah, but if you just carry candy, our neighborhood is a really nice place to live.
He smiled awkwardly and handed me some candy. I always carried candy with me after that, and lived uneventfully for several months. Then one day, I ran into Rose as I was coming out of the house, and the moment I put my hand into my pocket, I realized I'd forgotten to grab candy, but I was too lazy to go get some, so I just tried to quickly run past her. That was a terrible mistake. Suddenly, her tongue stretched out and wrapped around my body. I barely managed to shake it off and run away. That night, the skin all over my body turned red, and I suffered from tremendous pain. I was so sick that I went to the hospital. The doctor said that there was a toxic substance all over my skin, and asked what happened. I was so angry, so I decided to get revenge on Rose. I started carrying an iron ball with me, and when I ran into her again sometime later, I threw the ball at her and shouted, "It's a new kind of candy!" She took the iron ball, put it in her mouth, and swallowed it. Moments later, she fell to the floor in incredible pain, clutching her neck, and crawled away writhing. She hadn't been seen in town since then, and it's rumored that she simply disappeared. People started walking around the quiet streets furtively. People held a candy smashing festival, saying that they can finally go around without candy. I was proud that I had defeated her. Then one day, I was walking around the neighborhood. I saw a huge man eating cotton candy. However, upon closer inspection, it was not a man, but Rose. She looked completely different from before. The skin all over her body seemed to be covered with gray stones. Her neck had become thick like a toad. I screamed at her grotesque appearance, and she opened her mouth very wide and ran towards me. I smelled a strong mixture of sweet and rotten, and I ran for my life. She retched and expelled a hot, sticky liquid all over me. The liquid covered me completely, and as the liquid gradually hardened, my body also began to harden along with it. I thought, this is how I die. Then I heard someone shout,
"Here's a big piece of candy!"
and she stopped and turned her head. Tom and a priest were standing there. The priest threw a large water balloon at her, which she caught and swallowed. Then suddenly, she became extremely distressed. Her body began to melt, and she dissolved into the ground and disappeared. What the priest had thrown was a water balloon filled with holy water. Tom broke me free from this weird shell she had encased me in. I packed my bags and moved away the next day. I don't know what happened to her after that. Tom said she was completely gone, but I think she will come back again someday.
That was certainly a weird video. I don't even know whether or not that's even legit. Comment down below if you guys think that story is legit at any capacity. See if we can find one more video. Have I reacted to this one yet? I don't remember.
This happened a few weeks ago. I live in California and have always been good friends with this kid named Ethan. We had all the same interests, so we got along great. But that's besides the point. There's this old abandoned house a few blocks away that has been vacant for years. I have no idea why it was never fixed and sold. The point is, it's abandoned. All the neighborhood kids are always telling rumors about the place. And to be honest with you, I never thought they could be true. The house was creepy as fuck, though. So one night, while Ethan was staying at my house for the night, we decided to sneak out at like 1 a.m. to explore the place.
Why, though?
We brought along our phones for flashlights and to record. So we rode our bikes down the block and found the house. It was 2 stories high and made of brick.
There's a
with broken
fucking random
windows
ass
and an
cow on the
overgrown
roof in
lawn.
this video.
Basically all the natural traits of an abandoned house. Ethan and I hid our bikes in a bush and went around the backside. Oddly enough, the back door was unlocked. One of the rumors is that local homeless people, drug addicts, and gang members all hang out here. So the fact that someone seemed to have been here kind of freaked us out.
I mean, yeah, it would
Inside,
freak anybody
it
out.
smelled like shit. It was so dark that if it weren't for our flashlights, we definitely wouldn't have been able to see anything.
I mean, yeah, that's what's gonna happen when you're in a place with no fucking electricity. I also like the energy this narrator is giving off as he reads this story.
We walked through what appeared to be a kitchen, around through a living room, into a foyer. Just as we were about to go upstairs, there was a sudden, loud thump.
The fucking captions are acting stupid. Hang on. Alright.
Ethan and I both jumped and stood
I tried.
frozen. Dude, I think someone's up there.
You don't
I
say.
whispered to Ethan. Yeah, no kidding. He said back. Let's check it out. Dude, are you fucking crazy? I said. But Ethan either didn't hear or ignored me, as he was already halfway up the stairs. As much as I did not want to go up there, I decided to anyways because there was no way in hell I was staying down in the dark alone. We got upstairs and heard an identical thump down the hall. Holding up my phone to continue recording, I reluctantly followed Ethan down there. We approached the doorway and glanced through to see someone standing by the window. It was so dark, all we could make out was a brown sweater he was wearing. We knew he had to know we were here, because we had already shown the flashlight on him.
Okay.
Ethan began to cautiously walk towards the guy. I stood back by the doorway. Ethan walked up to the guy, strained his body to look at his face, and screamed. He shoved the guy, who fell to the floor, stiff like a statue, and grabbed my shirt collar as he tugged me away from there. I dropped
Looks
my
more like he
phone
yelled
as
in
we
your
nearly
face.
Trampled each other running down the stairs and out the back door.
Damn.
We got on our bikes and pedaled fast as possible back home. Apparently, when Ethan had walked up to the stiff man, he realized that the man was some sort of taxidermied human, with black sockets where his eyes had been taken out. At the same time, he heard a crack in the floorboards from across the room and saw the silhouette of a man huddled in a dark corner watching him.
Ooh.
We had the nerve to go back to the house a few days later
Why?
to try and find my phone,
Oh,
but it
duh.
was gone, as the taxidermied human and whoever was in that house. We didn't dare report it to the police for fear of getting busted for breaking and entering and sneaking out at night. I know, I guess that sounds stupid now. Ethan and I are still great friends in high school, and this memory is still one we will never forget for as long as we live.
The captions. Okay, I got bored. Bye. Wow. Whoever does the captions for these videos has fucking amazing humor. I think we might have time for one more video. And that'll do it for this video. Alright. Lovely.
It happened last year, 2018.
What the fuck? Shit. There. Ah, what the hell? Okay, let's try this
I
again.
was still in my second year of high school. It was earlier March that I was in school. We were just playing some quiz game on my laptop. I connected it to the projector for all of them to see. But then suddenly the school's fire alarm went off. They said this isn't a drill, but rather a maniac just entered our school with a gun. So all of us closed the door and the window to our classroom and switched off the lights. It was all silent, like you could hear a pin drop to the floor. At first, I wasn't panicking that much, but it all started to happen when a gunshot was heard from the distance of our room. I can assume that he already knows that we're here. We are the closest room from the entry hall. Every single one of my classmates was crying. I'm the tallest and the oldest student of them all. I'm 16 and some of them are 15 and 14 and another one is 12. So I thought, I'm the oldest. I should protect them.
Nah, dude.
So then I grabbed the fire extinguisher in our room, because every single room in my school has a fire blanket and a fire extinguisher.
That's a
just in
requirement.
case of a fire. I had a stupid plan inside my head that I'll spray him with the fire extinguisher. So then I opened our room door and I came across it. He was a middle-aged man wearing a white tank and black slacks. He was holding a .44 Magnum caliber revolver. At first, we were having a quick draw match, like that. He grabbed his gun first and pulls the trigger. I can feel my heart beating fast, and just then he aimed the gun at me, but it didn't shoot at all. He forgot to cock his gun, so then it's my chance to hit him with a fire extinguisher and knock him out. After that, the police arrived and every student was reunited with their family. And still, I'm wondering, what could have happened if he didn't forget to cock his gun and shoot me first?
Do you really have to ask that question? You already know what would have happened. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Hope you all enjoyed, and if so, leave a like on the video down below. If you're new around here, why not subscribe, turn on the notification icon so you don't miss a single video that I upload. I'm currently on the road to 500 subscribers, so please share my channel, share any videos from my channel, and help me reach 500 subscribers. Remember, the Force will be with you always, and your destiny lies with me. Obi-Wan, do this to be true.